Each year, the silent strike of venomous fangs leaves thousands of victims in a desperate race against time. In remote villages across East Africa, the difference between life and death often hinges on a single question: which snake? Now, in South Sudan's flood-prone plains, artificial intelligence is rewriting this deadly equation. Our reporter Ruth Munyi takes us to the front lines where code meets venom and where a smartphone might be as powerful as an antidote. Take a look.
Dawn breaks over South Sudan's vast savannas. Beautiful. But beneath the golden grass lurks a silent killer. Here, snake bites aren't just medical emergencies. They're a death sentence delivered in seconds. The World Health Organization calls it a neglected crisis. Up to 138,000 lives extinguished annually by venom, with millions more forever scarred. In this unforgiving terrain, the critical antivenom often remains elusive, not because it doesn't exist, but because identifying the culprit remains a deadly guessing game. At Maena Bone Hospital, the clock is always ticking. The doctors here have seen it all. The grotesque swelling that renders limbs unrecognizable. Muscle tissue disintegrating before their eyes. Internal hemorrhaging that no pressure can stop. Each symptom demands a specific antivenom. But one crucial piece of information often remains as elusive as hope itself. Which of the region's 40 venomous species struck?
This one here is an antivenom called Igita Plus.
Okay.
Sometimes patients arrive and we don't know exactly what type of snakes that bitten them. But what we do is just to do the general assessment and see whether it is associated with inflammatory syndrome or it is associated with hemotoxic syndrome. So if it is associated with inflammatory syndrome, we give you 3 vials of this kind.
Is it here?
Is it here?
Yes. Nice.
A pork GL backstory begins 7 decades ago, but she carries its weight with every painful step. At 76, her body bears witness to venom's lasting legacy. I was about 7 years old when I left my father's house to look after the cattle. In the evening on my way home, as I was crossing the river, a snake bit me and it lingered on my leg. I screamed and the neighbors heard my scream. They took me out of the water and the snake was killed by my parents. The snake was identified, a black mamba among Africa's deadliest serpents. But identification came without salvation. I became unconscious after the bite and was given traditional medicine and a raw egg. Those remedies failed. 70 years later, a pork's twisted leg stands as a monument to what proper treatment might have prevented. The disability has affected me physically and mentally. I'm not able to walk for long distances and do heavy chores. I feel like I'm becoming very odd quickly because of this disability.
Enter
the unlikely hero, lines of code running on ordinary smartphones. In the laboratories of the University of Geneva, data scientists have partnered with Medicine Sans Frontiers to create an algorithm that turns a simple photograph into a diagnosis. This artificial intelligence doesn't just identify snakes, it reads that signature and prescribes its antidote. This South Sudanese breakthrough joins a global digital arsenal against venom. In India, the Snake ID app helps identify the big 4 killers responsible for most fatalities. Australian researchers have developed algorithms that read bite patterns like fingerprints, while Brazilian scientists are using AI to revolutionize antivenom production itself.
AI is mainly to identify the snake species that are living in South Sudan, and particularly Tish County, where MSF is operating. And it also helps in identifying the venomous snakes and non-venomous snakes. And it will also help the expert across to produce the antivenom that is specifically for the snakes that are living here in Mayanabon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gabriel Alcoba. Dr. Gabriel Alcoba has witnessed too many preventable deaths. Now he watches as technology rewrites that narrative.
So the idea was to use a software that we developed with the University of Geneva, colleagues here, and so with MSF, Doctors Without Borders, and joint teams to have engineering on one side, to have people who can develop an algorithm, and there was a competition to get the best algorithm that requested a certain number of photos. So we get photos from snakes and we test the machine, and if the machine gives a good answer, it's the right species, it has a high performance, or it can have a medium performance or a bad performance.
The more encounters the AI processes, the more intelligent it becomes. A digital organism evolving to outspace its venomous adversaries.
We really want to develop it in South Sudan because South Sudan has really ticked all the boxes that we think are important, are relevant, in the sense that there is a huge burden, there's a huge number of snake bites in the hospitals where we work with Doctors Without Borders, MSF, and actually if we manage to create this momentum, this dynamic, I think we could really export it, let's say, to copy-paste it or to adapt it to other countries, mainly the neighboring countries, I would say Kenya, Sudan, Ethiopia, and also in West Africa, where there's also a lot of very high snakebite burden.
The numbers tell a story of transformation. Since the AI's deployment, Mayanabul Hospital reports that treatment delays have been slashed by 30%, antivenom waste reduced by 40%, survival rates climbing steadily upward, amputation cases declining month by month. Just across the border, Kenya faces its own venomous epidemic. The lush landscapes of the Rift Valley and coastal plains hide the same deadly threat, claiming approximately 700 lives annually and leaving countless others permanently disabled. In the Kenyan context, there are about 1,000 to 4,500 snake bites yearly. The highest incidences reported in Kitui, Baringo, and coastal regions. The critical antivenom shortage is about 70% of rural facilities, and there is an average 4-hour delay between the bite and proper treatment. While South Sudan embraces AI across the border, healthcare workers still rely on methods as old as medicine itself. Diagnosis often depends on the victim's fading memories or a mangled specimen brought in by panicked relatives. In nearly 40% of cases, treatment is administered based on educated guesswork. The consequences are measured in lives and limbs.
In the community, still there is this perception that when a person is bitten by the snake, they have to apply traditional things, which does not help sometimes. So the better way that we encourage the community to follow is to go to the hospital.
However, there are potential benefits for AI technology in Kenya, and some of them include instant species identification in the most remote villages, precious antivenom directed only where needed, treatment cost reduced by up to 60%, and seamless connection with Kenya's advanced telemedicine networks. The Kenya Snakebite Research and Intervention Center stands at the precipice of transformation, reaching toward partners like Costa Rica's Institute Clodomiro Picado to develop AI systems tailored to Kenya's unique serpent signatures. Beyond treatment, these AI systems could revolutionize Kenya's emerging antivenom production efforts, creating digital maps of snake distribution, cataloging venom variations, and reducing dependency on imported solutions that often arrive too late, if at all. The integration of health technology, particularly artificial intelligence, will greatly revolutionize snakebite treatment in this region of Mayenabun, South Sudan. By leveraging on AI, healthcare providers will now swiftly identify snake species and venom types, recommend the specific antivenom treatment. This innovation will greatly improve treatment outcomes and reduce fatalities associated with snake bites. Ruth Munyi, NTV, Mayenabun, Twitch County, South Sudan.